Morning, everybody. My name is RlrrLrrl. I've been drumming since 1998, and I still got plenty to work on today. I'm practicing this book. It's called 50 Ways of Syncopation by Don Moyle. I highly recommend this book. It's got 50 ways that you can work on limb independence using the 20 Charts and Doms book, or the book Syncopation by Ted Reed, or the 55 charts that are currently available on my YouTube channel, with more to come in the future. Stay tuned. Now, in these live streams, think of this like office hours. I'm here to practice. I'm here to get better. And if people have questions, then I answer them. And inside of all these 500 plus live streams are timestamps to show what I was practicing or what kind of a question I was answering. Because I've been drumming for so long, and because I've taught every grade kindergarten through doctoral student, I get a range of questions like, how do I get better as a performer? How do I get better as an educator? And I often edit those answers and put them into this drumming tips playlist. It has 12 seconds shy of 20 hours of drumming tips on a range of topics like intro to limb independence. And then if it says and other drumming tips or and other teaching tips like this one, that means there are more topics in there. So use the timestamps in the description to see if there are other topics of interest if the title is not. Now, I'm not good at limb independence yet. Most of what I've worked on over the years has been working on rudimental stuff and concert stuff. So I need Shia LaBeouf to help motivate me to get better. So Shia, help motivate me to get better at limb independence. Here we go. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you going to wait for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Thanks, Shia LaBeouf. We're super motivated and ready to play. Making fun of cancer is not funny. But one of the things that you can do to help people who are actually going through chemo is donate platelets. I did that on Thursday. Donated 3 bags of platelets so I could help out people who are going through cancer. But your kind of vibe is not allowed on this channel. Sorry, no losers allowed. All right, today I'm practicing limb independence. But if you go to my home tab here, there's literally thousands of free exercises and whatnot that you can use to practice and improve your drumming. For example, if you're a rudimental drummer like I am, the chop section has a bunch of exercises that you can work on that are related to chops. Hello to you. There's also over 1,000 grid variations. I was working on one of those a couple of streams ago. Inside of here, there's also a bunch of marching bass drum exercises, over 500 of them. There's drumline cadences, there's sight reading exercises, there's almost 500 technique exercises, and then right inside of here, there's just under 20 hours of drumming Q&A, like on these live streams where I respond to people who aren't being trolls, who have questions about how to get better at performing and teaching, because again, I've taught every grade, kindergarten through doctoral student. Now, this drumming lessons playlist has a bunch of videos that are like scripted lessons where I show you how to do like traditional grip or how to do a stretch and massage routine to help your hands out, etc. The section that I'm focusing on today is limb independence. Every single one of these playlists inside of here has a video inside of it that helps you to develop limb independence. So this one, how to develop limb independence on the kit. And then this one that shows you 62 different ways that you can actually practice limb independence. This is an edited version of a stream that I did where it was over 3 hours of me playing one chart 62 different ways. Some of them sound great, and some of them I clearly need to still work on. But either way, it shows you 62 ways that you can work on limb independence if you follow the steps in this video. And then you can use all these free resources on my channel. Now, I'm going to warm up with 2 different patterns that I'm going to switch to while playing through a chart. The first one is paradiddle, left, right, left. On the hands, while I read through charts on the foot. But every 4 bars, I'm going to switch from that pattern to this pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, while I'm reading again the charts on the foot. So the entire time, the right foot is reading through charts while I'm switching what I'm doing with my other limbs. Now, I'm going to play this at 125 using the straight drum charts. There's also swung versions. And so I'm just going to pick a random set of charts, 26 through 30. Sounds great. Inside of all these thousands of free exercises, you can go into the timestamps in the description to jump to a specific BPM. So if I want to play this at 125, then I just select 125, and then we go from there. Let me turn up the volume so I can actually hear myself. Here we go. Next. So again, switching between these 2 patterns every 4 bars. 2, 1, 2, here we go. Switch. Thank you for the reacts on the vertical. I appreciate it. If you like this, there's literally thousands, plural, free resources for drummers on my home tab, organized into different sections. You just gotta click on the header, and then it expands and it shows you more of that content. Here we go. Now, on this first line, for each one of these charts, you can improvise here, or just play the ostinato. You can also practice this so you play every 8 bars you switch, or every 2 bars, however you want to do this. I'm doing every 4 bars. It's not the only way you can play through this. Hey, I appreciate the kind words, and hello to you. Hello to you as well. We got hellos on the vertical, hellos on the horizontal. No hellos on Instagram because I disabled the chat there. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, switch pattern. Me with polyrhythms? Nah, polyrhythms are easy. Limb independence is harder. A one, a two, a one, two, ready, hey. Anyone can do this? Play something from Sugar? Oh, you clearly don't know how to drum. Stick around, you'll learn something. If you knew Susie like I knew Susie, then you would like her too, like her too, like her too. Sweet! Okay, now I'm gonna stretch and massage, and then I'm gonna work on some more limb independence. Do. Am I actually gonna answer while playing? Yes. At least when I can. Sometimes with the limb independent stuff, it's too complicated. My brain can't process reading that monitor over there while reading the charts over here, but sometimes I can. The problem with the vertical one, it's so hard to see. Is it Hebert? My mic is actually, like, the stand right here is, like, covering up the bottom line. So, like, I have to, like, move around like this to actually see through it. Okay, so the first stretch that I'm going to do stretches the sides of the forearms. So you take your sticks, palms facing up, you pull and you pull and you push through. Yeah, so it looks like Rusty. I take it you're new to drumming. So on my home tab of my channel, if you scroll down to the tips and lessons, there's literally over 20 hours of like drumming tips and lessons in there that can help you out with it. But switching between two different limb independence patterns while sight reading a chart, while reading comments and responding to comments in chat is not something that anyone can do. So my guess is you've never done this before, so you don't know just how complicated that it is. But I mean, again, over 20 hours of like tips and lessons and whatnot that can help you so that you can get better at your playing. Now, I'm going to stretch the underside of the forearm, so I'm pulling back like this. If you do this one on the wall, the lower you go, the deeper the stretch. But I can't really do that on the wall, so I'll just do one at a time. Do. What are the best cheap jazz ride cymbals? Or my favorites? I actually haven't looked into buying cymbals in decade or so, maybe longer than that. But the ones that I'm using are like the only reason why I have these is because they're the low volume ones. So they actually make it so that they are significantly quieter, especially with these silent stroke mesh heads by Remo. So I don't know because I haven't shopped for cymbals in forever. Stretching the top side of the forearm now. Do. You're challenging me to play the whiplash solo? Not quite my tempo. I actually haven't learned it. Drum kit is not my primary instrument. My primary instrument is rudimental and then concert percussion. So this is something that I'm learning for fun, but less than 1% of my like actual total practice time has been on drum kit, but I'm enjoying learning it. I'm now stretching thumb to thumb. You should drum yourself. You know how it gets complicated sometimes? Yeah, I like it. It's good for my brain. Now that I'm in my 40s, I need to think about aging in a way where my brain like does good things. So like I'm learning Japanese, learning limb independent stuff, trying to help my brain stay activated. You're welcome. Yeah, these drumming streams are very different than like what most people do for drum streams. So a lot of like drummers, what they'll end up doing is like drum covers and like they'll take requests and stuff. But think of this more like office hours. It's like I'm here to practice stuff that I'm not good at yet. And then if people have questions, then I help answer them, which is why there's like the 19 hours of drumming Q&A, the drumming tips playlist. That one is all just questions that I've answered live on these streams. And it ranges from like how do you hold traditional grip to like more complicated stuff, like whether or not it's worth it to get a doctorate in music education. For context, I have a PhD. So like there's a ton of different questions that people have asked, but I avoid doing like the covers and like the React stuff because it's actually illegal to do that. So I don't want like copyright violations or strikes. So the people who do that end up getting in a lot of trouble, legally speaking, when the different publishers and whatnot find out that they're streaming their music. It is not an example of fair use, despite people putting a paragraph at the top of their drum covers claiming it is. It's not. Sorry. So what I'm doing right now is I'm massaging. I'm just trying to really relax everything. And you'll notice that I go from like larger muscles to smaller, so from like forearm to hand to fingers. So like now I'm massaging the palm of my hand with my thumb, and then the fingers are massaging the back side of my hand. Do. And I got one more quick massage, and then I'm going to play a samba pattern into a Baião pattern. They're actually very similar. Only one thing is changing in the foot, base to tip massaging, which kind of makes it complicated because like they're so similar that I can just like go onto autopilot, and my brain is just like, oh, we can just like keep playing this foot pattern. Nope, it's different. So when doing this quick massage, base the tip of each one of the fingers, at least twice. Just loosen it up. Okay, now the thing that I was referencing, if you go to the Home tab and you scroll all the way down, thank you for this up. Inside of the tips and lessons section here, we've got just under 20 hours. It's 12 seconds shy of 20 hours of drumming Q&A. This is where I have responded to different questions on these different streams. And it's a range of different questions, like tips for teaching if you're a new drum instructor, or how perfectionism may end up holding back your playing, why your rudiments are slow, or like what are roughs, or how do you improve your buzz rolls, or how do you work on sight reading. Like there's a ton of questions in here, literally just under 20 hours of Q&A. And there's timestamps in the description of all these to show like what I was talking about. So if it says, and other drumming tips, that means that I start by talking about buzz rolls on number 52, but then I move on to some other things using the timestamps, so you can check that out inside of there, if that is of interest to you. And then if you scroll down more into this section, the playlist right next to it, the drumming lessons one, this is a scripted like lesson on a specific thing. So I can get like better camera angles or better explanations where I'm not just replying like during a live stream. So I'm adding a new one of these every single week, and then I'm adding a new one of these every single week as well, so stay tuned for that. But these are all the play-alongs that I'm using to practice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice playing a samba pattern, which is right, left, right, right, left, right, right, while I play on the ride. And then I'm going to switch every 4 bars to a Baião pattern. So instead of right, left, right, right, left, right, right, I'm going to play right, left, right, both, 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 right, left, right, both. Okay, so I'm going to do that for 4 bars and the samba for 4 bars. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth between those 2 different things. Okay, now the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to read through snare part using these charts. So again, going into the limb independence section, and there's a ton of like free exercises and whatnot that you can use to practice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this at 190, I think, should be comfortable. Stay tuned, we'll find out. And let's pick another set of charts, 41 through 45. Sounds great. I'm just going in random order, so that way I'm practicing sight reading while going through this. In all these thousands of play-alongs, just use the timestamps to jump to any BPM you want to practice this at. So if you are a better drum kit player than I, you can play this faster. If you are still working on this one, you can play this slower. Whatever you need to do. Switch between these 2 patterns. 2, here we go. Yeah, so I had some hooked on phonics issues where I read it wrong. And switch. Mess up one of the transitions. 1, 2, here we go. That felt better. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, so it's like technically proficient. I'm playing the ink on the page. It's not super musical yet, but working on it. It's feeling more comfortable switching between these patterns though. That was a hard chart. One, two, here we go. That was fast. I liked it, but yeah, it's weird because like nothing is changing with like the cymbals. And they're so similar that it just like messes with my brain. But I like it. It's fun. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually review a couple of limb independence patterns that took me a couple months to be able to get. These are rough. And you'll see why in a second here. Let me actually make it so you can see the pattern. I want to make sure I keep coming back to these so I don't get too rusty with them because they're brisk. They require a lot of brain power. Okay, so I'm going to try it at 130 again. So the pattern I'm going to start with is pattern number 52. So the way this is going to go. So think of, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... But instead of playing that pattern, as 16th notes, I'm going to play it as triplets. So da 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 da. So I'm doing 3 of those in the space of 4 quarter notes. So it's technically a 3/4. It's a straight pattern on the cymbals. While I read swung in the drums. So 3/4 straight over swung. So the drums in the charts are going to be short notes on the snare. So 8th notes. And anything longer than an 8th note is going to be on the bass drum. So... Well, again, that is the right pattern that I'm playing. Now I'm going to play this at 130, and I'm going to use the swung charts, not the straight charts like this one. So I go back to my home tab. Thank you for the react, by the way. I scroll down to the limb independent section. But if you're a rudimental or concert percussionist like I am, there's a lot more stuff in here for you. But the limb independent section is specifically for like drum kit players. And everybody can benefit from the different tips and lessons in here. Over 20 hours of it. But inside of here, we've got the permutations to work through, the timing exercises, the straight charts, and the swung charts. Because I'm doing the swung at 130, I'm going to go inside of here, and I'm going to read through these charts. Let's do, I don't know, 6 through 10. Sure. Inside of the timestamps of all these thousands of play-alongs, just click the BPM that you want, and it'll count off in your headphones or your speakers or whatever. Okay, so again, this is 3/4 straight over swung. The swung part is in the drums that I'm reading. The straight part is in the cymbals. On these ostinato lines, you can improvise here, or just play the ostinato. 1, 2, ready, and... Whoops. It's funky. I think this one took me like a month and a half before I could even read a chart of working on it. The next one that I'm going to play is even harder. It took me like 2 months. 1, 2, here we go. That's the right hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. That should have been on the bass. I'm so sorry. Unsubscribe. I'm adding in extra different dynamics and whatnot, just to make it more musical. By the way, that last chart is funky. I intentionally wrote it to be like not on the beat. Cool. Last chart for this pattern. The next one is harder. It's a soca feel with some hi-hat shuts, but it's again a 3/4 straight over swung. Stay tuned. It. That was good. Okay, so overall, at 1:30, it was mostly musical. So I was adding in different timbres, different textures, different dynamics, etc. And I had fun with it. Yay. Column A, by the way, is keeping track of like how do all these different patterns sound over time. So like if you'll notice here, when I started, I was 30 clicks slower, and it was terrible for quite a long time. Needs a lot of work, and then over time, on average, it became technically proficient. So my goal with last year's like drumming streams, at least for the limit independence ones, was to work on limit independence. So most of these started off not good, but now they're all at least technically proficient, or on average they are musical. So it's keeping track of like, well, across all the times that I played this, what was the BPM that I typically played, how was it, etc. So I highly recommend making something like this. If you're interested in it, they're on my home tab under the drumming tips playlist. If you scroll down all the way to the tips and lessons section, inside of here, there is a video that actually has a link to a template that you can use to make your own. It's free. You don't have to give me your email address or anything like that. None of that nonsense. But if you scroll all the way down to here, number 74, how journaling can help drummers. This talks about like how I use this, and you can actually see like pattern number 17 needs a lot of work on average. Pattern number 16 was meh. But if we actually go back here now, pattern 16 and 17 are both technically proficient. So woo, high five. But inside of here, this link will, when you click on it, it'll be like, do you want to create a copy of this template? And then you can fill it in with whatever you want. So it's like a blank version of this, so you can work on that. If you're curious, again, drumming tip number 74. 7/4. Okay, so now I'm going to play through the next variation that I came up with that is kind of along this vibe. Let me paste it in there so you can see it. So this one is harder. I tried it at 120 last time. Let's try it at 120 again, because that is faster than I normally do it. But this pattern, this requires some explaining. So, soca pattern. On a hi-hat, 1 EN, 2 EN. Okay, so ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you just put a shup on the release. So normally you'd be like, if it was 16th notes, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But instead of playing it as 16th notes, I'm going to play it as triplet, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, buckets, 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 So I'm doing 3 of those in the space of 4 quarter notes. So that's the 3/4 part. It is a straight pattern. But I'm reading through the charts again, swung with short on the snare drum and long on the bass drum. Okay, so that was a couple measures of just straight 8th notes, or swung 8th notes, and that is a couple measures of just quarter notes, okay? I'm going to do that while reading through the charts, and we're going to do it at 120. So going back to my home tab, click. Again, this is drumming tip 74, where you can get that journal, so you can make your own. Scroll down. There's so much content on here. Don't go to my video tab. You'll never find anything. Like in this grid section alone, there's over 1,000 play-alongs for just grid. So good luck finding it. Instead, you just go to a rudiment and be like, oh, I want to work on, I don't know, book reports, or I want to work on flam drags, either triplet or 16th note, whatever. And when you go into there, then it has just like the Flam Dark variations. So it makes it easier. Home tab. That's where you want to find all these thousands of resources. But inside of here, I'm going to play this at 120, and I'm doing a swung chart. So I'm going to go swung charts, 100 to 159. And I just did 6 through 10. Let's do, I don't know, 16 through 20. Sure, it sounds great. Inside of these, just click on a BPM you want in the timestamps. If you want to go at 122, you can. If you want to go at 40, you can. If you want to go at 240, you can also do that. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's wacky. That was a hard chart. Every one of these 55 charts is a different feel, different style. Some are easier than others, and some are easy for some patterns and way hard for other patterns. 1, 2, here we go. Messed up my shuts. Sometimes my stick on the snare hits my hi-hat stick. My bad. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. My bad. My stick on top keeps hitting the one underneath. What's my practice routine on the drums? It depends on what I'm working on. I bet I can show you in a minute. 2 more charts. 1, 2, ready, and. Last chart, and then I'll answer that question. I can actually show you with the timestamps of these live streams to show what I've been working on, how I work on it. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, so as long as I wasn't hitting my sticks, it was fine. But otherwise, that's a hard one. Okay, so it's mostly technically proficient. And then I was making progress on it. So 120 is about where I should be on that one. Okay, so now to actually answer your question by showing you. So if you go to the home tab here, and you scroll all the way down to the tips and lessons section, so it's past like the play-alongs that I was just going through. But inside of here, this is where I've responded to questions like your question in the 19 hours of drumming Q&A. This is where I create the scripted lessons like how to hold traditional grip or like what are playing zones on tenors, etc. But inside of here, this is just basically a stockpile of like all of the 500 plus drumming streams that I've done on the different things that I've been working on over the last couple of years and whatnot while practicing. Now, I've been drumming since 1998, so almost 30 years, and I've been teaching since 2003, so over 20 years doing that. And I've taught every grade, kindergarten through doctoral student. My background is drumline, followed by concert percussion, and then less than 1% of my time is on drum kit. The reason why I'm sharing that with you is because the way that I practice marimba is different than the way that I practice snare drum, which is different than the way that I practice limb independence, etc. Like, it takes some fundamentals from them and can apply it to the different instruments, but the things that you work on, the techniques that you focus on, the ways that you like work on it can be different, and sometimes it can be similar. So because I'm not good at limb independence yet, you'll notice that there are a lot more limb independence streams where I've been practicing it because it's an area that I want to focus on. The rudimental stuff I've been doing forever, so like I need less time dedicated to it because I know how to play on sticks and pads, etc. But if you go inside of here, what I end up doing for the patterns that I'm not good at is I just sit there and work with it for a while. So like this was working on pattern 52 and 53. This one was working on pattern 46, 47, 52, 53, etc. So like it has the different patterns in here that I would work on. What I end up doing is I just sit and work with something that I'm not good with for a good chunk of the stream. So if you look at the timestamps here, it says that I warmed up with this. I stretched and massaged, which is something that I highly recommend everybody do. It prevents injuries and makes it so your drumming is more relaxed. And then I will sit there and spend the majority of the time working on one thing. In this case, it was actually the pattern that I just did, pattern 53, that soca feel. And I did it for the bulk of the session. And I was working on these like rhythmic permutations inside of here. And just sitting there and grinding them out for the vast majority of the stream. And then at the very end of the stream, what I'll end up doing is reviewing something or working on like lately it's double bass. So last year it was working on limb independent stuff, but the more recent thing that I'm trying to learn because I've never practiced it before is double bass. So if you look at the stream that I did the other day, I warmed up, I stretched and massaged, and then I like worked on some patterns. And then at the very end, I did double bass stuff working on this with my feet, okay? That is a very like basic outline of what I'll do. Warm up, few minutes, stretch and massage. That takes like 3 to 5 minutes going through the whole routine. Spend the majority of your time working on something. And then at the end, working on something new or chopping out. In this case, I'm chopping out with my feet, trying to get it so that my feet can get better. Now, today, I started off by warming up with a pattern that I started working on 2 weeks ago. So I was switching between two different limb independence patterns. This first one and this one every 4 bars, switching between those while sight reading the charts with the foot. Okay, so that was something I was not good at. But I just use it as a warm-up today, just kind of check in to see, okay, is this comfortable? Cool, it is. Stretch and massage. And then I went to another set of patterns that I was not good at like a week ago, which was switching between that samba feel into the Baião feel, okay? And now what I'm doing is I'm reviewing. So I've already spent time going through the stuff that like I wanted to spot check and see how it is. So now I'm going back and just reviewing stuff that I either haven't played in a while or that I know are difficult and that I need to spend more time with. But normally I'd spend like 80% of my stream just sitting there focusing on one thing. But because those things that I spot checked were good, now I'm just going back and reviewing this, okay? I know this is a lot, so I apologize. In a rudimental stream, whether it's like on one pad or like tenor stuff where I'm moving around on different pads, it's a similar process, a similar idea. So if we take a look at this, in the timestamps inside of here, I warm up, I stretch and massage, and then if you look at this right here, I just sat here and worked on Flam 5 grid for that whole time, and then I'll chop out at the end. Chopping out like playing something faster than I should, just so I have fun at the very end of it, okay? That same pattern is replicated across all these different streams, whether I'm like sitting there working on like tenor sweeps or working on a single pad or whatever. Warm up with something, stretch and massage, and then sit there and spend a good majority of the time just refining something. And I go through it very slowly when I'm working on my technique. So like I'm starting at 40 right here. And again, I've been drumming for almost 30 years. So it's not that I can't play this faster. It's that I'm refining things. So I'm like really, really grinding out. And then at the end, I'll chop out with something. So in this case, I chopped out with this float drags exercise, etc. So what I highly recommend for anyone, it doesn't matter whatever like your age range is. And again, for drums, I've taught 5-year-olds up through like graduate students. Whatever you're working on, spend the majority of your time like really refining things. So for me, when I'm doing a like a pad stream, it's refining my technique. For these limb independent streams, it's like working on patterns I'm not good at yet. And so I spend like 80% of my stream just really sitting there and focusing on that. And you can see that in these timestamps, other than when I'm responding to questions like this. I've had too many students where they would like spend the majority of their time playing faster than they should, and they'd spend like 10% of their time actually refining stuff. It should be flipped. So whatever it is that you're working on, whether it's like drum kit or rudimental stuff or concert percussion stuff or mallets or whatever, if you spend the majority of your time focusing on stuff you're not good at yet, then you will get better over time. So there's actually a video inside of my home tab. If you scroll down to the drumming lessons, inside of here, there's a video that is this one. I'm a pro drummer, but practice like a beginner. Why? And this actually gets to like some of the comments that I received at the beginning of the stream, where I get comments from people who are basically like, you don't know how to drum, or you're horrible, or why are you playing this so slow, you're terrible, etc. And it's because they don't understand like what I'm actually doing to practice. So I highly recommend watching this if you actually want to get good, and you want to like know what it takes to do that, and like why I recommend practicing as if you are a beginner and working on stuff you're not good at yet. It's 2 minutes and 12 seconds, but it's worth your time. It will get comments like that, like if you're live streaming your practice sessions like I am, just because beginner and even intermediate drummers have no clue who they're talking to or what practicing actually looks like. But because I've been doing it for so long, I'm comfortable like streaming stuff that I'm not good at yet, as I've done for a few hundred times. But yeah, anyways, I like to keep these streams to about an hour so I don't like completely burn out my limbs and my brain. But I'm gonna work on my feet now. So speaking of playing things I'm not good at yet, I am not good at my feet, but I've got a double bass pedal now, and I've never worked it up. And so the last couple of weeks I've been trying to work on it. I'm specifically working on heel down, which is a technique that I'm more familiar with, and heel up, which is a technique that I have like no experience with. So heel up can give you some more speed, more power, but heel down can give you more control, more dynamics, etc. They're both good for different scenarios. But the way that I'm going to work it up is if I go to my home tab here, under the technique section, there's a ton of different playlists inside of here. But there's one that is specifically for the endurance and speed of your hands or your feet. There's currently 70 videos in here, but there's a ton of technique exercises, just under 500, spread out throughout all these other playlists to like work on your flams or your fulcrum or rolls or whatever. But inside of the endurance and speed exercises, I'm going to play through an exercise called Chug. So I'm going to scroll down. This is Chug with hertas. So hertas are alternating notes. So that's the first line. Now, the way that I'm going to work on this is just play with just my feet. I'm trying to get the foot technique down, get that comfortable, and then eventually I'll start incorporating my hands, just like I was doing with all the limb independent stuff. I'm not ready for that yet. I don't want to overwhelm my brain quite yet. But my hands can play through this exercise really fast, whereas my feet, on the other hand, are like, I don't know how to do this right now. It's really bad, which is why I'm going very slow with this, so I can gradually work it up. A couple weeks ago when I started working on this, I started at 60, going up to 70. Now I'm going to take that chunk, that interval of 10 clicks, and I'm going to start 5 clicks faster than that. So I'm going to start at 65 and go up to 74, technically. But that's the plan with this, so I can refine this. And each time I play through this, I'm going to switch between doing a heel down and a heel up, so that way I can just keep working on both of those techniques while playing through this. 2, and it's counting off on my headphone, and 2, and I go. Now heel up, and 2, it's 1 click faster, 1, and 2, and... It's funny. Woo! You can tell. Heel up is not something that I worked on enough. 1, and 2, and heel down. Heel up. And 2, and... Heel down. My left foot feels weird. 2, and... Yes, I've got plenty. Give me a second. It looks like Jaden. What specifically do you want to work on? Because I've got literally thousands. Do you want to work on a specific rudiment? Do you want to work on your flams, your rolls? Ready, and go. Heel up. Heel down, 2, and 1, and 2, and... Heel up, 2, and 1, and 2, da 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 da. Okay, yeah, I can help you out with that. Let me play 2 more times. And 2, heal up. And 2. My feet are not good yet. Okay, so great question. Jaden, what I really recommend for most rudimental drummers for traditional grip, which for context, I marched snare in high school, college, and DCI with traditional grip, but I now exclusively play match grips. So if people are like, well, what do you know about traditional? I have many seasons of playing traditional grip. I just don't play it anymore. But if you scroll all the way down to here, the first thing that I recommend doing is going into the drumming lessons playlist. Inside of here is a video where I show you with better camera angles than I can do here about how to hold traditional grip. So inside of here, it has step-by-step multiple camera angles showing you different things to consider with traditional grip while you're holding it, how to do it, whether it's too high, too low, etc. Talks about like whether or not you should tilt or not tilt. If you're going to tilt, it makes it so you have more motion, you can get more power, etc. Blah, 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 blah. So start with this video, how to hold traditional grip. It's kind of, the way I made this video is kind of like what's called a heuristic, where it like encourages you to think through an answer that works for you, as opposed to saying, here's the one way to do it, because there's not one right or wrong way to do traditional grip. It depends on your different goals and the different trade-offs you're willing to make, etc. So this will at least point you into multiple different directions that you can choose for what kind of traditional grip you're going to go with when doing this. Now, that being said, again, this is under the drumming lessons playlist. The thing that I recommend for most people whenever you're trying to refine a technique is to spend your time working on technique exercises. So inside of here, if you're a rudimental drummer in particular, 60 to 70% of your time-ish should be on just this technique section. And these are organized so that you can work on different things. Like if you want to work on accent taps, there's 65 videos in there. If you want to work on double beat, there's 10 videos in there. If you want to work on endurance and speed, like I was just doing, there's 70 videos in there. So just click on one of the playlists that looks interesting to you and go through it slowly. So if you happen to be here a few excuse me, a few minutes ago, I was demonstrating the timestamps inside of the prior streams that I was doing. When I was working on a pad, I was working up something on tenors and even the Flam 5 stuff, and I was playing it at 40 beats a minute. And I've been drumming for almost 30 years. So if I'm playing slow, there's a reason for that. It's not because I can't play it fast. It's because I highly recommend, if you want to work on your technique, to go through stuff slow. So like if you want to do stick control, this is like one of the favorite exercises for a lot of people. My favorite version personally is the advanced stick control with filler. So this one, go slow, like 40 beats a minute, and just play through this particular exercise and let it go one click at a time. So in the timestamps of all these different play-alongs, the reason why it's starting off at like whatever tempo you select, and then it's just going up one click at a time, is because it's slowly pushing you to go a little bit faster. But if you were to sit there and instead of spending like 20 minutes playing something fast, if you were to spread that out over like a few practice sessions and play through it slow, it'd be much better for being able to refine your technique. So if you want to get cleanness, play with these play-alongs, because you'll be able to hear when you are rhythmically out of time, because you're hearing every one of the notes, as opposed to a metronome where like all you're hearing is like the quarter notes. You're not hearing all those interior beats. I actually have a video on that. I'll show you in a second that kind of elaborates on that. But 60 to 70% of your time should be on the technique stuff. If you're a rudimental drummer, maybe 20 to 30%, maybe more, should be on grid variations. These are like how to work on rudiments. And then like I'd probably say at most 10%, maybe even less, would be on the chop stuff. These are fun, but it's like the candy. Focus on like a balance between like the technique exercises and like grid variations, and that's how you can really work on refining that technique. But to summarize it, start with the drumming lessons video, that is how to hold traditional grip. This will show you multiple things to consider with it. Like one of the biggest issues a lot of traditional grip players have, instead of playing like this, they'll start with their hand already tilted, so they're unable to rotate back further. So this is like the biggest issue that I had with like snare drummers, is they're starting with, if you're to pour water in your hand, the water is going to stay in the hand. What you want is so that the thumb is in alignment with the forearm here, and you want it so that the water would fall out of the hand as opposed to like this. But this video talks about what to look for with that. But another thing that I'll point out, since you mentioned that you want to be able to play clean and faster, check out this video, how to speed up any rudiment, that talks about the mental side of reframing mentally what a rudiment is and how you can speed up your brain to think faster, but also the mechanical side of like breaking down rudiments into different parts to work on that using, again, the free exercises on my under the technique section. So this video can help you out. But also, the video of metronomes are overrated for drummers. This one talks about why this makes it so that you can hear the guideposts of when you're playing with a metronome, but it misses all of those interior notes right there. And why I have these thousands of play-alongs, it's because they are better than a metronome, because then you can really hear whether or not you're actually playing clean. Because like you could play... like that second one, the rhythms were all over the place, but they hit the downbeat still. So you'd be like, well, I'm still playing in time. No, you're not. So this video, it's short, it's less than 2 minutes, but that could be helpful for you. But yeah, good question. Just give it time. Know that if you're learning traditional from match grip, that like however much time you spent on this, good morning, Jeffrey. You're going to spend that much time and maybe even more just figuring out a new technique. Every time you switch to a new technique, like if I'm learning like Burton grip, or if I'm learning like Stevens grip, or if I'm learning like a rotary French motion for like timpani, or a finger French motion for timpani, or if I'm using like a front two-finger fulcrum versus a triangle fulcrum, like all these things are just going to take time, and you're going to need to like get comfortable with it. So traditional grip might take months or years to get comfortable, and that's totally normal. But work on the technique exercises, and that can help out with that. You have a question about double pedals. You mostly play jazz. Seems so much fun. How do you get started? So great question. I'm also just getting started with double pedals. So like jazz is something that like I'm really enjoying playing through, but like my background is rudimental and concert percussion. And because I have double pedals now, I'm like, well, why not learn it? Like it'd be fun. So what I do recommend for you is go into the technique section, and there's this endurance and speed exercises. This playlist has a ton of stuff that you can play with your hands, so you can like speed up your hands to like, if you want to do blast beats or whatever, or you can play through any of these with your feet. There's a range of stuff to work on, whether it's stick control variations or pyramid variations, or like these chug exercises, singles into doubles, etc. If you play any of these with your feet, that is how you can work on the double pedal. Just since you're a jazz player, I'm assuming you've spent time working on your hands, and so give yourself that remind yourself of the patience it took to develop your hands to the current level that they're at, and just know that it's going to take that much time or even longer for you to develop your feet, because you're practicing it less than your hands, most likely, depending on what you're playing. So be patient with it. But speaking of, when I was just playing through this, I went from 65 through to 74. I want to actually try and push myself to play a few clicks faster. But instead of doing the chug variation that I just did, I'm going to do this variation where it's singles and hertas. So this exercise is... but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with my feet. No hands involved at the moment. And I'm going to start at 75 while going through it. If you're better at this than I am, you can go up to 160 for this particular one. If you are worse at it than I am, you can go as slow as 20 beats a minute. You're very welcome. But yeah, again, it's technique, endurance, and speed playlist. Here we go. My feet might be too tired for this. Stay tuned. We'll find out. And 2 and And by the way, when you're working on this and you're just doing the feet, eventually incorporate hands. Oh, that was horrible. So that was heel up, which I haven't worked on. And it sounded way different than the first rep, which was heel down. Speaking of, I'm going to go back to that. Switch back and forth between those so you can practice both. They're both beneficial for different reasons, but I haven't worked on that second one. You find practicing with someone who's also practicing helps prolong your practice session? Well, that's awesome. Yeah, my left foot. Heel down. Well, I know there's some people who do that for working. Like they do this thing where like they just like live stream themselves and they're muted while they like are working like at an office gig. It's really interesting. It's like the study with me kind of stuff. I've seen some people who do that as well, where they like literally just just like study together. It's kind of weird. Where am I from? Planet Earth. Where are you from? Arizona is the actual answer. Random question. Do you know anything about... No. I actually don't really focus on, like, stick trick stuff. So, like, I had a lot of students who, like, would ask it, but, like, I know, like, the basics. Like, I probably can't do it here because of this. But, like, you can, like, throw your stick and, like, catch it with the backside here. You can do stuff like this. Like, in general, I don't recommend focusing on that stuff because it's, like, it's not going to help you get the line. So, like, for me, I just never really practiced it. The reason why I know that one is because I got a couple lessons from Jeff Queen, who's a four-time world champion snare drummer. He's the snare soloist in the musical Blast. And so he showed me how he did this in the solo when I took lessons from him. I was like, oh, that's cool. But in general, like, I don't really focus on that stuff. But, you know, to each their own. You're in Malaysia. That's awesome. Closest I've been to Malaysia is Japan, and further away would be Mongolia. That's the closest I've been to that part of the world. And Japan was amazing. Okay. Unfortunately, for the person who's practicing guitar with me, I'm at the end of my practice session. Good questions today. Jeff Queen is the GOAT. Very, very cool dude. Knows his stuff. Turns out, four-time world champions know how to drum. If you're a rudimental drummer like me, check out the chop section. There's some fun stuff in there. There should be some shopping sprees coming back, returning there. There's like a copyright thing that I'm dealing with off platform related to it, but they should be back on like Monday or Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. There's over 1,000 grid variations. I highly recommend working on these. I'll be working on Flam 5.1 tomorrow, I think. Limb independence. This is where I was practicing. Every one of these has a video towards the top of this playlist that's how to develop limb independence. It's got a series of steps. It might take you a couple of months, but I promise it works. It's based off of how we learn and how our brains function. And then right underneath that is 62 different ways that you can work on limb independence. So if you're like, well, what patterns do I play? There's 62 of them in that video. If you do marching bass drum, there's over 500 videos in there. There's a bunch of drumline cadences in this scores and ensembles one. There's computer science stuff because I'm a nerd. There's sight reading exercises. These all become public starting in November, so stay tuned. There's almost 500 technique exercises. like I was just practicing in. And then here's where you can find over 20 hours of tips and lessons inside of there. So check that out. Now, if you use these to practice these live streams, if you go to this one, you can just pretend like I'm still practicing when I sign off here and just go to a previous one and be like, okay, Jared is still practicing tenor crossovers right now. You can just pull that up and play along to it if you would like to. But I'm going to call it here. I'm going to get ready for Yakuza Like a Dragon. I'll play that for about an hour and a half or so. But tomorrow I'll be back on the drum pad working on some technique stuff. But I didn't stream yesterday because I didn't meet my goal for content creation on Thursday. So that's why there was no stream yesterday. If you enjoy these thousands of free resources, share it with somebody else. If you don't enjoy these thousands of free resources, then share it with an enemy. Goodbye.